to the Buy Box Bandits podcast.
Welcome back to the Buy Box Bandits podcast. We got a super special episode tonight. We got one of my oldest friends from Instagram, guy I've known for a couple years, guy I met 2 years ago during the summer. We'll go through that whole story when he was still working his job. He's now a full-time Amazon seller. So we are excited to introduce the man who is now a full-time reseller, but goes by the side hustle experiment still. So John, good to have you here today, man. Very excited for this.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Of course, man. And we just, once again, special shout out to all our listeners. We've been really appreciating all the support lately. It's been amazing. But yeah, okay. So you're now a full-time book and online arbitrage seller, making a pivot into a lot of online arbitrage. But take us back to the start. How'd you get into reselling? All that. Tell the Gary Vee story as well. Very exciting.
Cool.
Like take us back to like 2013, man.
Yeah, so basically I was always following Gary Vee. I always liked his stuff. I met him a couple times in person at conferences and stuff like that. And one day I moved to Pennsylvania. I used to live in New York, and I got a new job.
Represent.
Yeah, that's right. And I got a new job, and we negotiated in the salary, you know, like after 3 months, like if I do a good job, like it's going to bump up to this. And of course I got that. And then when it came time for a raise at the end of the year, they're like, we already gave you a raise. I was like, no, like that was already negotiated, that bump, like that has nothing to do with like the end of the year raise. And I was sitting there, I was like, there's no way I could let like someone else like in charge of this, because like it's just not possible. So then I was like watching a Gary Vee video, and he was going garage sailing, and I was like, this guy is like a millionaire, and like he's going buying like stuffed animals. Like there's no reason why I can't do this too. Like there's no excuse. So I bought, I think it was like on OfferUp or Let Go. One bought the other. I forgot which one it was. And bought 4 dining room chairs for like $10. And the theory was like, someone's going to pay 20. Like there's no way that someone's not going to pay 20. So the idea was just like double the money. And then I just kept going down the hole, finding, like before I knew, I was like made $500 in like 2 weeks, like cash. Like it was insane.
Wait, what was that job? What was the job?
I was just
furniture
furniture on
flipping.
Facebook
Yeah.
Marketplace. Like I
No,
found,
the 9 to 5. The 9 to 5.
I was a copywriter doing like
So
marketing.
Got it.
ironic, because Danny literally yesterday asked me, what is copywriting?
Oh man, copyright.
but-
I love copywriting.
Yeah,
but
writing persuasive text, I guess, for anyone who doesn't know. But yeah,
basically
okay.
think of a sales page. A copywriter wrote that.
Yes.
for the
And
most
what?
part.
How many years ago was this that you're getting started with flipping?
About 4 years ago, I kind of got
Interesting.
started. And
Yeah.
the thing that really changed it for me was I got a new apartment, and I got like this huge glass table. I don't know why I thought I needed like a 6-chair table, and I paid $100 for it. I'm like, well, you know what? If someone gives me, I really liked it. I was like, if someone gives me $250 for this, it's theirs. Literally within an hour, someone was like, I'll take it for $250. And that changed my whole mindset, because like all of a sudden, like it didn't double. Like I was buying tables similar to this, and like getting, like I pay 40, get 80, and they'd sell in an hour. So now I'm like, well, I could pay 40 and get like 250. And that just changed everything. And then I just kept doing that. And then I went home for Christmas, and I was like, this sucks. Like I can't sell anything because all my inventory is in Pennsylvania. And I was like, I need something else. And then I came across a Reezy Resales video about selling books in thrift stores. I kind of thought it was a scam, but I was like, whatever, like I'll do it anyway. One of the first books I scanned, it said it was $1 at the store. It said I was going to sell for $34 on Amazon. And at the back of the book, I think it said the new price was like $26.99. I'm like, there's no way. And literally 2 weeks later, that book sold for I think 34. And then I just went all in.
What year was that you saw the Gary Vee talking about books and stuff?
It was 2017.
So how long were you doing like the flipping on the apps?
So the furniture, I did it for a full year. I did like 25 grand in
Yeah.
just that short span.
People still do that, by the way. Like
Oh,
it's
yeah,
still a
definitely.
fully
Oh, gosh,
full
it's
fledged.
so-
Yeah.
It's
Make a lot
so
of money.
lucrative because it's so
Yeah.
easy. A lot of people are just getting rid of this stuff. Like I would go pick up a table, like, oh, you want a lamp? You want this? And when it's free, you're like, yeah, that's an easy 20, that's an easy 40. Like it's so easy. But you also have to store it. Like,
Did you have like a
it's
truck?
kind of cheap, but like you can only fit so many table. Like,
Yeah.
so it became like kind of like a thing. And then I started Amazon like I think 2018, early, probably like
And that's interesting because I remember it was summer 2019 when I started doing books, and I posted a picture in your territory in one of
yeah,
your thrift stores, and you said like, dude, I think that's right near you. And it's crazy. Literally, we ended up, that was literally my first year of posting
yeah.
stuff. We ended up, meeting up. We were right near each other. The thrift store was right near where I was doing my internship. And then that fall was when you quit your job. So that's
Yeah.
really interesting. You started doing Amazon in 2018 and then were able to quit your job and everything. So what strategies were you using to find books at the time, and how are you doing it now and in more recent times in terms of finding products in general?
So when I first started, it was just going to thrift stores, and eventually it's like, well, I want to get more product. Like I really like this, and there's about five in our like in my area. It's pretty good here. I mean, there's 5 stores within, I don't know, 10,
And
15 minutes.
Goodwills too, like big Goodwills. Yeah.
Yeah. And like there's like and then there's like pockets that are like an hour away from where I live that have pretty much the same stuff. So I was going like every weekend, I would hit a new area. I'd go to like Philly, I'd go to Washington, all these different places, just thrifting, get them all, like probably get like 500-600 books, ship them in, and then do my day job, kind of do, the stuff at night. And then I went to a Turn the Page, which Caleb Roth throws.
Yep. Former guest of the podcast. Everyone go
Yeah,
check
that
that
was a
out
good
if you haven't
episode.
already. Yep.
That was a great episode.
Um,
Yeah.
and I heard about like bulk books, like buying. I was getting tired of just like driving around. Like,
Yep.
you drive somewhere, you don't find something, you waste a lot of time doing that. And so I was just like, oh man, if I could buy these in bulk, it almost seems like a no-brainer. Like,
How many books were you sending a week? You were at your peak doing
uh,
your cherry picking.
probably anywhere from 500 to 700 given week. And
Sending into
that's
FBA,
totally doing it part-time, yeah.
and that's what,
And
sourcing 5, 6 hours, 7 hours?
yeah, about the weekend I would probably do it like the whole Saturday. So
Right.
Saturday, but it's a lot of drive time. So like, actual scanning time, yeah, probably like 4 or 5 hours.
And with
Uh,
this business model, what sort of softwares we're using?
so I was using Scout IQ, Accelerless, and also Keepa. Those are the three main,
Were
and obviously a Bluetooth scanner.
were you hitting a lot of library sales or like organized library sales?
No, I do not
Oh,
like library sales.
dude,
I
they
went to
were.
2. I went to 1 and I was like, never again. And then I was
Wait,
like,
so why didn't you like the library sales?
it's savage. That's just not my style.
It's
Like,
so much fun. I mean, like,
I
it's
do
That's
not
just your
crazy.
personality though, Danny. That does not, that's
All right,
not
wait, John. So
shocking at
explain,
all.
like, because a lot of people don't know. It's like, why are they savage?
So I went to this one right outside of Philly, and I actually took my girlfriend, and like she's gonna help out. And like I get there, and like I'm still like kind of new to the bookstores, the book sale scene, like because I don't like them or whatever. So like I get there, and there's already a line of like 30 people, and
Oh
like
yeah.
people just
Like,
have these tubs lined up, and the people who were second in line, like they're like, oh, the bookstore sale is about to open. Like 12 people get out of this van, like just go walk to that.
Oh
And I
yeah.
was like, oh my God. And
And
then they had their girlfriends and wives, and we go in, and like it's like everyone's
Everyone.
running. You gotta go up the stairs. Like there's like literally at this one, like 5 security guards. I'm like, what is going on? And so like you get there, and all of a sudden, like all you hear is like beep beep boom beep beep boom. And like people are knocking books everywhere. Like think about like the hottest Black Friday toy, like a stampede. Like
but
just
used
people
books.
going crazy.
dude,
And
I can
and
picture Danny in
people
a library sale just like stiff arming people.
no, but like, I never got into any confrontation, so I did a lot in New Jersey because really, like, honestly, they're the only place where it's all fresh donated books,
Yeah.
unscanned,
Right.
usually unscanned.
usually
and
unscanned.
and I mean, a lot of Amazon sellers go, especially in the tri-state areas, a lot of people.
Yeah.
But I mean, survival of the fittest at the library
Yeah,
sales.
and there's kind of an underground community of people who literally like travel around the country hitting up big but it's kind of like semi. There's a lot of like van lifers that do it. Like there was this one dude self-identified himself as like I can't remember his name. He's like some type of hippie. He literally had dreads and everything. It's not my boy Hippie Flipping. Shout out Hippie Flipping. It's not him. But literally, I mean, they were talking about. I saw him at a few. They were like, yeah, like we like travel around the country doing this type of thing. It's interesting. So you had more luck cherry picking the books and eventually built out kind of a bulk model, getting Gaylords and everything.
Yeah, it's for me. I like the exclusivity. Like I don't
Yes.
like fighting with people. Like I like the person I deal with now. Like he doesn't sell to anyone else. He just sells to me.
Ooh,
Like it's
that's
a
what's
good
up.
source. Like I could get as many or as little books as I want. Like it's very chill and like that's kind of what I want. I don't want to be like running around competing
Yep.
with
And
people.
so right now you're doing the bulk model, getting in Gaylords and everything. Do you kind of want to walk our viewers who might not be super familiar with that through what that looks like? Because you have a warehouse set up. I know you have a helper that helps you out with everything. You kind of want to walk us through that whole operation you have set up right now.
Yeah, so I have a warehouse that's about, I think it's almost 4,500, 5,000 square feet. So basically what a Gaylord of books is, it's about, depending how big they are, it's about almost like I like to explain it, like if you see like watermelons or pumpkins in a supermarket, like in that big box, like that's
Sure.
technically a
Yeah, that's
They'll
Gaylord.
use the
interesting.
same boxes
Uh,
too.
oh yeah, you
Yeah, like if you
Yeah.
always see
see,
produce boxes, meat
yeah,
boxes, those are probably the most common.
And you can
And it
fit
has
like 1,000 books in them or
yeah.
something,
yeah,
right? Yeah.
I would say anywhere from 800 to
Yep.
1,200 bucks. Just really depends on how big it is. And basically, they come in a truck. We take it off in a forklift, and then we have what's called like a tilter, and that basically tilts the books onto this huge table. And then we're using like a version of Scout IQ that's meant
Yep.
for bulk sellers. We're
Scanning them in.
yeah, the helper is turning them over. I'm scanning them, I'm reading the data, and making a decision what we're going to do with that book. And then we also do a lot on eBay as well.
Yeah, you've had some success, even some celebrity clientele with the
Yes,
eBay.
definitely.
And that's interesting. Yeah, that you've sold like 1930s like psychology books and stuff like that. And it's interesting because a lot of the Harry Potter books aren't super profitable just because there's like so many sellers on them and stuff
Yeah,
like that.
it's
Um,
definitely an interesting market.
yeah, a lot of the stuff that ends up being really good is like the textbooks and everything. Because obviously, you know, for those of our friends out there who might be in college recently and are going to, college textbooks are like super expensive,
Oh
but at
yeah,
the end of the semester, kids don't really care about them. So a lot of them end up being donated or whatever, sold to the bookstore and stuff like that, and then be flipped on Amazon. So you can arbitrage that out because the book that was used in December by a student, there's a good chance that book's going to be someone else is going to need that for the spring semester. So right now you're loading up on textbooks right now to be sold during January, which directly aligns with when kids are coming back for the spring semester and
yeah.
all that. So how does that work? How do you make buying decisions with that stuff? Like what tools do you use and all that?
So right now we actually don't buy any outside textbooks. We
Oh,
just get
interesting.
them all from our Gaylord.
Gaylords, yeah.
So now with the restock limits, so what we used to do, we used to just send everything in and price it really high. And then when textbook season came, we just reprice. So now what we're doing to save space is we're not sending any textbooks in, and then we'll start sending probably like December-ish, just so they are fully checked in by the time like they need to be. And there are a lot of people, there are actually a lot of students who buy early as well. We were like kind of getting that in December or whatnot.
Yeah.
So want them there for that. But yeah, we're stockpiling them now, and then we'll send them all in.
How many
Have you ever
people?
experiment? Go ahead, Danny.
I was just saying, how many people do you have working for you in your warehouse right now?
Just the one helper.
Okay.
So, which we'll talk about later, I guess, is like as I'm getting into OA, it's really hard to like almost fathom like bringing someone in and training them if I'm trying to get out. Like it's a very like weird spot I'm in right now.
Garrett, what were you saying?
Have you ever experimented with that arbitrage in terms of buying textbooks like at the end of a semester and then selling them at the end of the beginning of the next semester? Because there's
Oh
softwares
yeah.
that are built around that. But have you ever experimented with it?
I have a little bit. I've done a lot on like Facebook Marketplace, buying off people there. I have done like a little bit of eFlip.
Yeah, Caleb came out with that. That's actually a super cool software.
Yeah, it's awesome. Yeah, I have some experience doing that. It's just one of those things where it's like, I don't know, I kind of like, I would say I do a lot more of it if I wasn't doing eBay. Some
Yeah,
of
that
those
makes sense.
rare books on eBay is just insane right now.
I got a
What's
couple
up?
questions. So obviously, when COVID came, were you, so that's what that was March 2020, were you were doing bulk books then, right?
Yes.
So I'm assuming,
Fortunate days.
so I'm assuming they said can't send any more books and you just went straight MF, right?
Yeah, well, kinda. So what happened was, basically, I just started really doing bulk books, and I literally just quit my job, like pretty much right before all this stuff happened. And like I had a big cash cushion, so like I wasn't really worried about it.
Okay.
But one of my suppliers, that my best suppliers, like he was in like Maryland, and he's like, I can't come into Pennsylvania. And I was
Right.
like, oh man. So like there's another supplier I was working with who wasn't as good. And he's kind of like, screw this, like I'll come, like we'll do this. But that's when I really started to look really hard at actually OA, because I'm like, oh, if I can't do books, maybe I'll do OA and start to learn that. And then the supplier just kept delivering. And then like everything kind of went to normal. I didn't send anything in. I was just like stockpiling books for FBA because I knew eventually they would open it. We didn't know. And then I really started to do eBay as well and realized, wow, there's a lot more money in these Gaylords than just for Amazon.
And then when
So-
the inventory limits came this first time around, or the only time they came around, what was your kind of like thought process? Like you get the email, your inventory is limited. Were you thinking like this is doomsday? This is it? Or like what were kind of your thoughts?
I at first was like, man, like at first I was like, this isn't too bad because I was at 7,500 and I was like, okay, that's doable. I have about like probably close to 5,000 books in there. Like I could definitely take some stuff out. Like worst comes to worst, I'll pull all the textbooks out and just send them back in later. And then as it went from like 75 to like 65 to 50,
so yeah.
then I'm like 55, like this is a little tight. And now I'm all the way down to I think 3,700. And like at I think I have a YouTube video at like 45. I'm like, this is no longer doable. Like
Yeah. So they
Yeah.
really
weird bulk
squeezed.
books, like you either have to be a huge player in merchant fulfill, which I don't want to do,
Yeah.
Yeah.
or you could have a hybrid, but like you'll never grow it that big because like
True. Yeah.
it's
That's
not
just
possible.
and books is messy because you need a lot of space, you need manpower, and now
Dude,
you're
and they're
just
heavy. They're
they're
heavy.
very heavy. Yeah. Now you're just chilling, getting into some OA. You just, place your orders, run your scans, do what you got to do with that.
Yeah,
Um,
So,
that's
but
kind of as I went down, I'm just like, I don't know. A lot of people disagree, but I think the writing's on the walls for books. Like Amazon
100%.
does not want them there. They
it
take up all
it
the
makes
space,
sense
they're
too
heavy.
because they sell a lot slower, like
And they
people are
take
in
up
demand for.
space too. Think about it. They're big and they're
yeah.
heavy. They
And
take up
it's
a lot of
not
space.
something a person orders multiple of or
Yeah.
reorders of. So the LTV of one customer for one product is a lot lower.
And they're not making that much money on them, right? The average book
Right.
price, it's not like it's like
Yeah,
30 or
it's
40
probably like
dollars
12
like a
bucks
Lego
or
set
something.
or
Yeah.
something. It's like
Yeah, we were just talking about today. So the FBA price increase, which to me, like I think most of it's like
Yeah, 5%.
25 cents or something, like roughly across the board, which in OA, RA wholesale isn't like crazy. But in books, like a quarter is like that's kind of a big deal. That can knock out a large percent of books.
well, someone
Well,
was in the Facebook group today, like one of their buddies sells a lot of books in the 50-cent range. Like
Oh,
just to
that
move
yeah.
it,
There's so
like the
many,
guy's
so
done.
much easier
Like,
ways to make money. I don't care what he says.
Yeah.
There's so much easier ways to make.
I think Amazon's definitely squeezing out the booksellers, especially how
Yeah.
you described your inventory limits, how they went from 7,500 now all the way down to a little bit under 4,000. They're definitely squeezing out.
I mean,
oh,
just think
So
they
you
have all the
have to-
data. They have all the data that's supporting this, right? They must have 4, 5, 10
Yeah.
years of trajectory that are implying that, sales of books are diminishing.
Yeah.
But before we go into your OA transition, can we just talk about some of like the numbers that you saw
Yeah.
in that book space? So how, in terms of one Gaylord, what was the cost of one Gaylord?
So the average Gaylord is usually, I think mine are about, and this is delivered about $80 a Gaylord.
So were you
Okay.
paying per pound or flat rate?
Per pound.
And
And
what
so
it
for
was
one-
like 7 cents, right?
We were paying 5 cents, and then like
Wow.
thanks to high gas prices, it jumped up to 6.
Oh wait,
This-
that's really good actually.
Or that's what I was told, that they're raising the price because of
That's
gas.
really good.
Inflation, 20% inflation.
So 80 pounds for a Gaylord. How long does it take to process that Gaylord?
So we
For your
get
team.
anywhere to 11 to 12. We'll scan through everything with like Monday, Tuesday. Like we're on a schedule now. So we
Nice.
do Monday,
That's
Tuesday,
amazing.
separate everything out. Like the helper on Wednesday, he'll look up everything on eBay. And I'm kind of like spot checking and like
Yeah.
making listings, taking the pictures. Thursday, he is listing MF and kind of like cleaning up some eBay stuff, making some sets. And then Friday, he's off. And I'm kind of doing the FBA right now, listing, because it's so little. It's like not enough to hire someone right now
Mhm.
to do. And plus, like I'm kind of phasing it out. So it's like,
What software do you use for your FBA shipments? Also, are you shipping them LTL?
no, I'm not shipping
Oh, okay.
them LTL. I see like the benefits, and like everyone always called me like, I guess what you guys say, like a bozo for not doing LTL. But then when the restock limits came and all these people
Yeah.
had pallets
Oh yeah.
that they couldn't send or were stranded, I was like,
Yeah.
who's the bozo now? Like all my stuff's getting checked in. You guys' stuff is stuck. Like you have to break down all these pallets. Like I
Yeah.
understand it costs more, but like it also gets checked in quicker. So like there are advantages and disadvantages.
Wow.
So
Yeah,
y'all
So-
were processing
Dude,
11 Gaylords per week.
Yeah.
Did I hear that right? That's pretty
well, but
impressive.
you're getting through them. You said in like 2 days, which is really good.
Yeah, we're getting through in 2 days. Like the typical, I would say it just really depends on what's in there, but we're looking at probably like anywhere from like anywhere from 2 to 4 grand for Amazon and like potential profit. And then eBay, I mean, all it takes is one book, but I would
And
say
that's per Gaylord, right?
per like batch. per
Okay.
And
11.
what is like your typical acceptance rate? And has that changed at all throughout?
Ooh, that's a
Yeah,
good
it's
question.
gone way down.
Okay.
Because
Oh yeah, because you can send less in.
Yeah.
With restock.
yeah,
that
so
makes-
we're really, and that's kind of what also we did. We focused on like eBay a lot too, because anything iffy or not like perfect, like we're not sending any acceptable books in, like we're selling those on eBay. Yeah, it has to be like pretty much over a 60 score to even like
Yeah.
be considered to be
Wow.
like something
Wow, yeah, because
Yeah.
sell-through
That's
rate's
high.
so important with that stuff. Yeah, that's
Yeah, it's
huge. I
like
mean, that's
we're
really,
willing
really
to
high.
go down,
Yeah.
to
Well,
like $1.
It sounded like your sell through was already pretty good because you were given like a 2,500 unit cushion at the beginning,
Yeah.
which is big. I know most books, or not most, but I saw some on Instagram where like it was just no more. Right, got that email, they could send no more inventory in because their sell through was most likely terrible.
Yeah, ours was at like I think we were hovered around like 0.8, which is like obviously very low.
Mhm.
But for booksellers, most booksellers are in like it could be like 0.4, 0.5%, possibly, probably most of them, depending on what you're
Interesting.
doing.
And so a lot of our viewers don't know, and Garrett might not even not know, but in another life, Danny was actually a bulk bookseller for
Right.
the better
Oh,
half
we've
of
talked, yeah.
Well,
We've
two-
talked about
two-
that a
Well, no,
two and
bunch.
a half
that's why I
months or
know
so.
a good amount about the bulk
Exactly. Yeah,
books,
that's
and
why
it's interesting to me.
Danny has maybe we'll take some of those posts out of the archives, the Instagram
I
archives.
think they're gone in the void.
No, stories are
They-
saved. Stories
yeah,
are saved.
the stories are there, but I think the
Stories
rest
are
are
saved.
they're gone in the metaverse.
Like,
I have
uh,
another
um,
question about the bulk books I'm curious about. Is sell back your book and the other
Zipif.
are-
Zipif,
are
the
they-
legend.
are they still taking in a lot of books, and like are those prices the same or
They're actually taking a lot more, and their
Oh,
prices are
Let's
better.
go. Let's go, man.
Yeah,
What,
because
what's
all
the
that
guy's
stuff
name?
goes
Bill?
overseas, right?
Bill, right?
I think a
Does
lot
it?
of it does.
Yeah.
So one of the big things I'm seeing in the Facebook groups, like in the post today, like huge people are going out of business who used
Yeah.
to give these companies like, so now it has to be more enticing for me to give them a book. Like if I can make $2 on Amazon and they're giving me $1, like I'll give it to them
Yeah,
because
you
like
take the yeah, of course.
Yeah. It's
and I don't want
cash,
to take
yeah.
up a spot to make an extra $1.
Yeah,
Like,
Yeah.
we were
doesn't make any
like us three were privately talking about this, I guess, like yesterday. But you know, stuff happens, fees go up, rules change. You have to adapt and you
Yeah.
have to be
That was this
diversified.
morning, Miles. That was this
My
morning.
bad.
Yeah.
This morning, you have to be making content. You have to be, if you're a book, you
Yeah.
got to be doing eBay too. You know what I mean? You have to be in the community, right? Like, for example, you're in the group chat, right? You know, us four,
Yeah.
you know, we got like 28 other guys all doing Amazon stuff in general. You know, you're
Good math.
tapped in with other people who are dealing with these same problems that you are. So we can all come to solutions together. But you got to be diversified and you got to be like giving out game, you know, posting content and stuff, whether that might be. And stuff comes back to you. And I'm sure that's been valuable for you because you've been, you know, doing it going on 3 years now, at least I think, posting content.
Yeah, it's been insane. Like someone like one of my Instagram followers, like, you helped me so much. Like, here's how to get engaged in Nike. And like sent me
Bang.
like an
Oh,
ASIN
that's
sheet,
the
where to buy
that's the
it.
number
Like,
one question.
it's
Yeah.
like
I
insane.
got-
I was like, thank you.
And
I
you
did it,
might
it
you
turned
might
out
have
it
never
worked.
even talked to him at that point, but your content had found
Yeah.
him for whatever reason.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
you've
So-
picked up the volume a lot on the we kind of all have, you know, the past year or
Yeah.
so, but doing Instagram, got YouTube as well. We'll have your YouTube linked below for anyone who wants to check that out. But specifically, a lot of our answers to the question, what should I sell at the beginning, is books, even if just to test out Amazon. Do you agree with that? And if so, why do you think books are a good option for our beginner listeners?
I do, like, I go back and forth because like I'm very big on, like, if you're gonna start something, like, it's best to know it and like kind of grow with it. But in terms of Amazon, I do think books is like probably the best way to start, just because like you could get a lot of volume. So like the more volume you're doing, like the more you're learning, the more mistakes you're making, like stuff's getting returned or like Amazon's losing it. Like I'd rather Amazon lose a book than like a $20 or $30 set of something.
Yeah. And with books, they're cheap, right? Like, you know,
Yeah,
the
books are
mistakes
cheap.
aren't that expensive.
Yes,
You get
and
them
a
for
lot
free.
of people don't have a lot of money, but they do have time if they're looking for more money.
Mhm.
And books, you kind of pay with that sweat equity, I would say.
It's
Yeah,
part of
it's
the
very
inverse
interesting.
relationship. Once your money goes up, your time goes down. But before your money goes up, your time is high, right? So it works inversely.
Exactly. I think a lot of people, like, it's very weird. Like, I think people don't like the answer to start with books. Like, they want to be like Miles, like swimming in huge Home Depot boxes and Nike sneakers.
Or
like,
the Garrett
does,
reel
but,
that was
like,
posted of him on
like, it doesn't start
boxes.
like that. And like, I think that is always why I never worry about like competition in this, because like I know how
Yes.
hard it is.
The bar is so low. No, like most people never even make an account. Like some people will message me like once a week asking similar, and I'm like, "Did you open an Amazon seller account?" And then
I was just gonna
like,
say
no.
that.
I'm like, come on, guys. Like, you know what I mean? Like the bar is, if you're out there, the bar is so low. Just start. The bar's low in everything.
Wait,
to
so
be
low for what?
honest.
Like, what do you mean low for? Like,
Most people never
entry,
even
the
make an
entry.
account.
Yeah.
Most people that follow us.
oh
never
yeah,
even make
the
an
barrier
account.
of entry in the U.S. is what?
You know what I mean?
being
Just
able to
like
verify your
business,
address.
like stuff is hard, but like if you're willing to learn, it's really not that hard. It's just, well, do you have the capacity or do you want to take action? Like, how bad do you really want it? Like,
And you persistent. Yeah.
Yeah, and like the more and more DMs I get, like it's getting a lot greater and it's kind of overwhelming. But it's like from the questions I get, I know exactly who's gonna make it and who's not.
True. Yeah,
Yeah.
that is
People who
true.
are
To be
asking,
honest,
oh,
the
what
quality of the
app or
questions.
what's
Yeah.
this? Like that is like the easiest question. Like ask me like, how do I grow it? Like I started finding books. Like how do I find more? Like
And
Yeah,
there's the
yeah,
people who just
I
hit you
agree.
with the "here's my first sale," and then 2 weeks later they hit you with the "here's my first $1,000 day."
the
Shout
wor-
out to
Yeah,
Adam
question I get
Hall.
the most now, which I don't really have an answer to because like I refuse to do it, is like how do you list in Seller Central?
Oh, I just say look up you. That is the worst question to answer, and
I was like, look, I don't know.
I
use
answered
the
that to a
seller
question
list.
on my
Never
story
listed
today,
in
and I
Seller
said
Yeah.
you're just more so, you know, that's something you only have to learn once. That you can learn from, you know, a YouTube video. You know, I should have a video. I don't, but I should. But like that's a thing that you're literally just watching someone screen share, right? The sourcing stuff is the stuff that can
Yeah.
really scale and that, you know, you're constantly learning new stuff. But them like minute, if that's even a good word to use there, I don't know, not an English major. That's the
Your
stuff
dad
you only
is.
have to learn once, you know, the shipping and all that. That stuff you shouldn't be asking questions about because that's something you can
Agreed.
very easily figure out and it's just something you only have to learn once.
So John, before we get into like your OA story, having been through what you've been through and knowing what you know now, would you take the same path in terms of starting with books, getting into
Ooh, good
bulk?
question.
Would you do bulk
Come
again?
on, say it, John. No regrets. Say it.
No, I wouldn't.
No, boom.
John's crazy.
So I do like, I'm not mad about the path I took because I learned a lot about like having to
Oh
get
my
aware of
God. I
how
mean,
of
you
to
quit
course.
your dude. Like,
equipment.
yeah,
John, no
yeah,
regrets,
definitely
John.
not.
No
Yeah.
regrets.
But like, I honestly do think like the space I got, like, if I didn't find the space I had, like, if it was like 1 month later, I think I would have just like stayed in the storage unit and learned OA and then like got rid of all
Back
of
in the day, yeah.
books. Yeah, pretty much. But like it's a blessing in disguise. Like, I don't know, learned a lot. But yeah, I would definitely go from books to definitely OA much quicker.
So that's a good transition to where we're headed. So give the audience a sneak peek in terms of what you're doing, how you're spending your time, what your business look like now.
So right now it's kind of a monster. So basically we do I feel like I have like 3 different businesses, almost like 4. So like right now we have the book business where we're selling on Amazon, that and media, eBay. We do anywhere from 5 to 6 grand a
It's
month
all
on eBay
profit
now.
too. Everything
Yeah,
after the fees is all profit.
pretty much. And then we have, now I'm starting to do OA on the other account. And then the 4th is like we have all these different dud buyers that like it's a constant thing.
Right.
In and
Ooh.
out. But yeah, right now I'm spending a lot more time on OA. So that's kind of what happened. Like I rearranged my whole day. I started like writing on the wall and like it was always books, eBay, all this other stuff first. So like what I did was like I forced myself to do OA. And basically on YouTube, I was like, if I don't spend $1,000, I'm giving someone $1,000. And it was like the
Yeah.
hardest thing I've ever done because like I didn't realize when you don't know what you're doing with OA,
It's so
like
confusing at the start. And that's why
hard
it's
to spend $1,000.
same thing with wholesale. They're like the best models, as opposed to like, books or something like that, but they're also the hardest to learn. They're the most independent because there are so many directions you can go.
Yeah, and there's so many like with books, like there's only like the ranks, like you don't
Right.
necessarily know the ranks of beauty and this and that, like food, like eventually you learn, but like it's not off the top of your head. So I rearranged the whole day. I'm like, listen, like the helper is now coming at 9. I get there like super early. I get there like probably like 6, 5:30.
Yes, sir.
And then I get like OA is the first thing that gets done for like 2 hours. And it was literally, I think that's made the biggest difference. The biggest difference has been like networking with people. Like shout out to Cody Does Amazon, who's been
Oh
out
yeah.
here.
Great
Another
episode
another
with him a
product
few weeks
of
ago.
another product of Gary V.
Yeah. And
True,
there's
true.
another person who, one of my YouTube subscribers just like reached out. Is like, hey, I can help you with OA. He's been sending me a lot of helpful videos. And I was so frustrated. I was like, I don't understand like this OA thing. And I was like, what do I understand? I'm like, well, like I do understand like media and like DVDs and stuff like that. So it's like I wonder if there's opportunity there. And of course there was. I sell like a lot of vinyl records and
That's interesting. I've never heard of
That
that.
is so
Box set.
interesting.
So
yeah.
so would you say starting with something you were kind of interested in helped you?
yeah, without
Oh,
a doubt.
shoes for me, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, I was just like, I just knew the keep it charts much better. And it was just like, okay, like it just seemed ridiculous. I will say, like, I would say I'm in a more fortunate situation than most because like these vinyl records are like $25 a pop, right? Like it's
Mhm.
hard to like justify spending like
More expensive
250.
mistakes.
Yeah, like if you don't but like I'm confident with those charts and like once I like bought like 5 or 6 things and they started selling it, it was like starting over again with like books. Like, oh my god, like I can't believe this. And I think
It's amazing.
one mistake was I went a little too deep on like kind of the media. Like I should have took that and like kind of pivoted. I mean, I'm still selling like a lot of stuff, and all of it will move 4th quarter.
Okay, yeah, then you
But,
gotta
like,
get uncomfortable with buying, especially
Yeah.
these weeks. Like you gotta get uncomfortable with buying stuff.
Yeah, that's what I'm prepared to do. Like I said, like I'm just really looking for stuff to deploy capital on. And just
And
So
I
what's
will
your
I'm gonna make that happen. Don't worry.
yeah, I appreciate
what's
that.
your current strategy for sourcing online? Are you using TA? Are you storefront stalking? Are you doing it manual? What
So
sort
I
of?
haven't done much manual. So what I've done,
Manual's so good. Manual is where everything good is found because it's where other people aren't going. Anyone can run a TH search, but not everyone can be a dog going through other people's stores.
yeah, no, I'm definitely gonna do more manual. So what I was doing, I was like, probably like
Could be a dog going through other people's store.
Or just that type of stuff in
We
general.
got,
You
we
know what I
got
mean?
the
Like,
list. We
I'm
got
not-
all your
yeah, it was-
favorite.
and-
We got all
and
your favorite
thinking-
influencer storefronts.
thinking about it, thinking like the way the buyer goes through it, looking at the recommended products under something that's already
Yeah.
put. 'Cause all you need is one item that's good. Then you can go through all the sellers on those listings, the ones with high reviews, especially because you can see they're moving weight.
And that's basically what I started doing. Like I wasn't having much luck doing just like product searches, like, oh, Walmart this, Walmart that, and then I was
Because
just
that's,
like,
For
I mean,
good
to
sales,
Miles's
definitely.
point, that's what everyone's doing though.
Yes.
yeah.
The first intro to TA is Walmart grocery, Walmart
Fields of
toys,
profit.
Target.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, and I'm just
Fields-
like, I don't understand this. Like it's like I was like, his videos are very good. I watched a lot of other people's videos. And in the other people's videos, like, there's no way they're finding product doing this. Like, I'm doing this for like 3 hours. Like, there's just no way. And so then, like, I started looking at the people, like, well, everyone's doing that. So then, like, I joined a couple lead lists, and then I had the most success, like, using Keepa. Like, so basically, dropping like on a listing, you could like basically see everyone who's sold on that listing historically, downloading all that data.
Oh, this is
Yeah.
what I'm talking about.
Putting
Yes,
it-
yes,
That,
absolutely.
Putting it
that's
in
how
a
you find the
spreadsheet.
storefront.
Yes,
Run,
and
like,
you
this
can see their buy
formula.
box share. You could see
Yeah.
the buy box share.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if they have a high buy box share, that's mean because they were selling a lot of stuff.
And
They
then I
wouldn't be
run
selling
that
it if they weren't
reverse.
making money.
Yeah. And I found the most stuff that way so far.
So are you
Still
using
probably
any?
not a lot.
Are you using any software to search or no? Like automatic scanning software.
Well, don't automation. Don't come
Amazon
in here with
automation.
that.
Wait,
No,
does
no,
that,
no.
Dan, does that symbolize Amazon automation?
No,
No.
but I. No, not really.
Not at all. In fact,
I mean, I don't know if TA counts, but really that's the only thing
Okay.
I'm using.
'Cause I
I
wanted
think
to-
I think
Keepa.
TA is Amazon automation. If
I
I'm not
wanted to
mistaken.
say really quick for
Oh.
everyone that's still listening, TA and all those softwares, even like wholesale, like softwares where you search it automatically, they're only as good as you set the triggers and as you can customize it.
and as you
Two,
can read it.
Two, even if you do it amazing and you get it as perfect as you want it, there's still going to be blind spots. There will always be blind spots, at least for right now, in all the software that's out there, and they're going to be missing things. And that's where the manual search, whether it's by yourself or a TA or a VA, can really come into handy, because you can go in there and look at Keepa charts, and maybe Keep is only showing a few bumps, but people are buying multiples of a certain product. So I was
Yep,
say that
that's a good
software
point.
has blind spots and always will.
I will say, yeah, one of the biggest blind spots I think is when Amazon is out of stock. I've noticed this was a lot of media. They're out of stock, like maybe since like, well, this is November, but maybe they were like late October not in stock. And I'll watch that. And like, I'm like, they're not restocking. And then like you have to run the numbers. So like there's this one thing where like, I could buy it for 20, it's selling for 60. The average 90 days like 35, 40. Like I'm gonna take that chance because I know like even if I sell it at 30, I'm still making like 10% on it. So like there's no real downside to that. Or even if you take a break even, but to
Yeah,
make 40 out of
asymmetric
that, like,
bets.
it's worth
Yeah,
the shot.
exactly. All right,
Cool.
and by the
So,
way, for everyone still here this late in the episode, there is going to be a Lego SKU somewhere.
Oh,
throughout
we
the
forgot to
yeah,
bring it
we
up
episode.
in the
forgot.
beginning.
We
Well,
forgot.
luckily I remembered to bring it up now.
So John, real quick ending up here. Where do you see your business going in terms of 2022, 23? Are you planning on getting into wholesale, private label? What's your next step? Or is it just OA?
My next step is probably to really get a good grip on OA, eventually phase out books and eBay. I really don't know what that looks like in terms of like a warehouse, how much space I'll need to do OA and stuff like that. But I definitely think wholesale could kind of be a good option for me, just because I like kind of like the bulk books and like that kind of like exclusivity.
And
It's
you have
easy
the
to
cash
talk to
too,
one
it sounds like.
person.
You
Yeah,
have the
yeah, you
cash
said
too,
that, yeah.
Yeah, and then you're just like, oh, give me 100 of these. Like you have like more of I guess an idea of what will sell. That's kind of a very tricky part for me right now too, doing OA, like as things sell, like you send something in, maybe you buy 10, like 5 sell, like should you buy more? Should you wait for the other 5?
Should
Like
you
it's just
buy
very
500?
quick.
So I mean,
Have
sometimes
you?
you just gotta add that 0 on the buy order and buy it.
That's what we always talk about. That's how OA and wholesale scales so well, more than RA, more than cherry picking books, right? Because as Danny mentioned, it's just as simple as, increasing that up
gotta
arrow
add- you
or
gotta
adding
add-
a
add the
zero.
zero.
That up arrow, yeah, running the numbers. All right,
mean,
fantastic. So what are some beginner tips? Because a lot of our viewers are beginners. What are some beginner tips that you think can help them be successful just getting started?
I would say like in my mind, there's only 2. Like I always get this question. I'm like, I try to I think it's get started and be consistent. There's only 2. Like you have to get
Pretty hard to
started.
fail. Pretty hard to fail if you do both those things.
Yeah, like I
Ooh, that's
always
true.
like I did tweet like, and that's kind of like when everything clicked to me. It was just like you can't tell when I was like, oh, there's nothing at Walmart. There's nothing at Walmart. I was like, there's 50 million products listed on the Walmart website. Like, if you can't find one of those, like, you're not gonna.
Oh, I remember that tweet. That was a good one. I remember that
Yeah,
tweet.
I was like, and that's what like changed everything. I was just like, like I just had to look harder. Like maybe what I'm doing is not working, and like it was just like talking to people. And I think there's this guy Ramit Sethi. He runs the website like I will teach you to
I'll
be
teach
rich.
you to be rich. Yeah.
And like just like all like course creators too, they're like, if you show me the work, like I'll help you, right? Like
Right.
don't be like, what software do I use? Like, well, like tell me you're using TA and like you think your filters are messed up.
Yeah,
or
that was
whatever,
a that
and I
was
can
a
help you
very good
correct that.
point about the quality of the questions. That's so true. And once again, not to discredit anyone that Amazon's
Oh,
not
yeah.
right for. It's not right for a lot of people, but you'll figure that out quicker if you get into it and do it, or you'll figure it out if it's right for you. But something associated with making money online, side hustle, whatever, is going to be right for you, but you're going to find it quicker the more stuff you try.
Yeah, and I would say like there's no better like way to learn than to buy. To buy and lose money is like very painful.
Yep, you learn
and, like,
to
don't make that
write.
mistake again.
You learn to write by writing. You learn to swim by swimming. You do not learn to sell on Amazon by asking dudes on Instagram the same question.
Good point.
once
You
a
gotta
week.
learn by selling. And
gotta
honestly,
learn
that's
by
where like
selling.
that's where the books, even though they are being phased out, I still think it's the best
But
option.
even just for a month, dude, just to get
Yeah.
a proof of concept that we're not just talking heads on the internet. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we're not saying
Yeah.
go start buying Gaylords and get a warehouse, but like
Yeah.
Get a warehouse
I
during
know
COVID.
John doesn't like to do it, but dude,
Shut it
hit a
down.
library
Delete
sale.
all your content, become a realtor.
Yeah, I mean, it would be interesting too. Like, I'd be interested to go to a library sale or like a thrift store to see like, is it as crazy?
Dude,
Like,
I kind of
people-
want to go to a library sale down here. Like they were, I mean, you could make like 5K a month going to library sales
Easy.
easily, or at
Yeah,
least
you
when
should,
I was doing
you
it,
should
you
pull
could.
up to one in Miami.
I kind of want, dude. They were like, you
Hit up
would
the
think
book sale
you
finder.
would think like an iPhone or like a game was dropping. How many people would be lined up outside these libraries?
And the hippies, man, the dudes who are living in
Yeah,
their vans who know each
vans.
other. Nothing against hippies too. I mean, it's
Yeah,
pretty
no,
like.
I would
sweet
feel
people
bad
like going around
sometimes
to
taking books from
library sales.
people.
Well,
that, like,
funny about a library sale, like during actually about a month or two ago, I was like kind of had a couple drinks or whatever. And my girlfriend's like best friend is like, hey, like her parents work at this library sale and they're raffling off like this exclusive, like you get to scan the whole thing for like 2 hours.
Oh, so they know
Wow.
what they're doing.
Yeah,
they
and
know
like
what they're
they
doing.
did this auction thing, and then like I didn't even want to do it, and I got in a bidding war with this guy. I paid like $250 for it. So like
That's it, $250.
yeah.
How
And
many
you
books
get
were
to
there?
maybe you guys should come. You get to bring 5 people with you.
Oh,
wait,
that
wait,
would be
wait,
fun
wait.
for a
hour
day.
or
I
two.
really want to go.
book
Wait,
sale.
how many books does it have?
God, it's like a whole warehouse. Full
Oh,
of
so
Wait,
a lot-
where?
yeah,
When
yeah, a
is
lot.
Oh my
this?
god.
I have to contact them. Like they're like you could do. So I think this is the warehouse where
It
they
would be
store
a
the
great
books
video,
before
and
the
it'd just be
sale.
fun too.
It'd be a
That's
good
what I
time.
thought. I was like,
I would go just for fun.
250
Good.
was like my cap. I'm like anything over 250. Like I'm really not that interested.
I mean, people spend $250 for entertainment for a day. I mean,
I mean,
Yeah,
hey,
let's be
that was
real.
my
Garrett
idea.
and
I
I
was
spent
like,
400.
well, for YouTube,
Okay,
like,
okay, chill.
how many books could you get? Or like maybe I bring in other people and like build like
or
a
like
team.
10,000 book challenge or something.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
something
like that.
crazy.
I think it'd be fun to just go to a library sale. Well,
Pair it
I want to
up,
go.
dude.
I want to go back to one where like it's a competitive environment and like there's people everywhere. Dude, like, cause like you'd be in the basement of these places. There's no reception.
it's
If you didn't
so
have the
bootleg.
database, you were fucked. Like,
Yeah,
I remember
true.
times people who didn't get the database version of Scout IQ, so they were like going outside, downloading and getting the database, coming back.
Yeah, or
Yeah.
their scanners aren't charged, or they forget
dude.
headphones.
Oh, you
or
gotta
all
charge
this
the
stuff.
scanner.
Oh
it's
yeah, the
poison
headphones
girls.
and the noise.
Oh yeah,
triggers.
all
it
the
was
pros
amazing.
had headphones. Yeah, all the pros had headphones.
Yeah.
For
Yeah.
sure.
Oh, it was great.
Got to go after the textbooks, obviously. Then like the finance, business, religion.
Well, there'd be
history.
strategy. So if too many people are going to the same section, like
Well,
textbooks, you
you
gotta just
use
hit the
you gotta
nonfiction
use
because you
better
could just get
judgment
through
on
that many
yeah.
more.
Yeah.
Oh, it was
Yeah.
great.
For sure. All right, fantastic. I thought that was a really fun episode. Really, enjoy hearing your story and everything like that. Where can the amazing Buy Box Bandit listeners find you on socials?
On Instagram, it's Side Hustle Experiment, and same on YouTube. Side Hustle.
Yeah, and you
Experiment.
post very
Yes,
frequently on
sir.
YouTube, so you guys know. Let them know any questions. Let us.
He's been
know
picking
any
up that real
questions.
game.
Any
Yeah,
any
trying.
viewers or any sellers you want to see on the podcast, all that. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to find that Lego scoop. You made it this far. Seriously, we appreciate you guys on all the platforms, not just the ones looking at our pretty faces on YouTube right now. But yeah, thank you guys. We will see you guys on Tuesday for another episode. Appreciate you, John.
Peace.
Thanks for having me.
All right, good.